1, 2. Does anybody care about my hair? Probably not. Should I script my videos? So, my guess is if you clicked on this video, you're probably kind of sick of all the 2025 goal settings, 2025 reset, let's make 2025 the best year ever and accomplish the most ever goals kind of videos. And so am I. And this is why I want to offer a different approach. We live in a world of progress and a world that is trying to push progress on us constantly, push us to earn more, to do more, to work more. And we don't have to do it this way. There are actually alternatives to living in this constant rat race of a life and always pursuing the next thing. Because I don't know about you, so far this approach has helped me accomplish things for sure, but also hasn't made me really happy. And I think at the end of the day, as cheesy as it sounds, that is what we should all strive for, is to be happy and to be at peace and to feel fulfilled and to feel joy, which is what this video is about. I feel like oftentimes we actually end up accomplishing a lot of things in our lives, what we've always wanted, or at least what we wanted so badly at some point, but then we just want the next thing. And we never actually take the time to stop and say, and look around and say, wait, I have everything I always wanted. I have everything that 15-year-old, 12-year-old, even 20-year-old me, if you're like me in your late 20s, always wanted. We don't stop and appreciate it enough. And this is why I have personally decided that 2025 would be nothing else than the year of joy and happiness. And that's not a simple thing. Let's be honest. Let's be real. That's not a simple thing to quote unquote achieve, although this is the whole point of this video is not achieving more. But I guess achieving happiness and achieving joy is the only goal that I will be setting for myself in 2025. That does not mean I will not improve. That does not mean I will not become a better person. It does not mean that I will not achieve anything. It doesn't mean that I will not grow. But it just means that my North Star is going to be finding more joy. Because if anything, this is going to be a little fun experiment for me. And it could be a little fun experiment for yourself too. Because we do have a lot of years. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We have many years ahead of us. And we can maybe spare one to try to see if maybe prioritizing joy is going to get us farther than prioritizing goal setting and career and self-improvement success. And I would love for us to do it all together. So if you want to see more of that type of content in 2025, if you want to see someone pursuing joy in 2025, I encourage you to subscribe. Hi, by the way. My name is Elle. I'm 28 years old. I live in New York City. I'm currently filming this in Paris because I'm originally from France and I was back for the holidays. I usually make a lot of content about my life in New York City. I started my channel fairly recently, back in July of 2024. So today I'm going to give you 6 tips to pursue joy in your life in 2025. And we're gonna keep it simple and we're gonna keep it practical. So let's get started. I have my little notebook here. My first tip, and one that I kind of had in the back of my mind, and a kind of a phrase that I've had in the back of my mind for many years now, but yet haven't been able to fully apply to my life yet, and really want to make an effort and set an intention to in 2024, is creating more than you consume. We live in a society where consumption is everywhere. We are constantly absorbing so much, buying so much, watching so much stuff. If you live in a city, there's just so much stimulation. There's just so much you can just take in, but there's not enough room for taking things out of you and creating them and putting them out into the world. And if you want to do that, you really have to set an intention to and do it very intentionally. Whenever you want to like cope with stress or anxiety or when you're feeling down, it's very easy to just open up your phone and scroll through social media or watch a TV show, or those are basically the two things I can think of that most of us do. Or, go on a shopping spree. But most of the time, what would be better for us is to actually take that frustration or that stress or that pain even and create something from it, and just kind of use art, any form of art, as an outlet for our emotions versus smothering them with consumption. And going into my second tip is actually going to also give you more of a practical way to do that. So my second tip is pursuing art, but with no expectations of outcome. We know from a lot of research that has been done that creating art makes us happy, it makes us more at peace, and it like soothes us. And that's why we should make sure to integrate it more in our lives. And even if you don't like consider yourself as a quote unquote creative person, you will still benefit from this tip. There's always going to be something artistic that you can find and love and do to kind of like soothe yourself. The reason why I added the without any expectation of an outcome is because, and I also speak for myself in this case, I feel like nowadays we have a tendency to want to monetize everything, which kind of like puts a pressure on art, on what we create. I know I have a tendency to start hobbies, but then wanting it to be a certain way and not pursuing art just for the sake of art, just kind of wanting it to have an outcome and be quote unquote useful. And it's fine to have those things too, like this YouTube channel, for example, is something that is, feels very creative for me and is very artistic, but it's something that I want to grow. So that attaches some pressure to it. And I need to also make time for hobbies and crafts and art that is completely useless, so to speak. It's not useless because it helps you, but you have no expectations of the outcome. So it could be doodling, drawing, it could be playing music, learning a new instrument, it could be writing. Personally, I also love sewing. I play guitar, not very well, but I don't really care because I enjoy it. It makes me happy when I do it. It makes me focus on something. It helps me process my emotions sometimes. Just use art to process your emotions or just to have fun. Just pick up a hobby and don't expect it to turn into anything, just for the sake of joy. My third tip, and although you might have heard this one before, it is probably one of the most important ones, and that is to practice gratitude. I'm gonna give you a very practical tip on how to do that, one that I got from a book called You Are Badass by Jen Sincero. I do not necessarily on a daily basis. I feel like this book is really good. It is like very like self-help though, which I feel like is not the point of this video and not the point of this year for me, but like some of the parts are more about gratitude and how that can like improve your life. And so what she recommends, and that I've been doing for a long time now, kind of like on and off if I'm being honest, but that has worked very well for me, is every night, or at least as many nights of the week as you can, write down 10 things that you're grateful for. I have just a little gratitude notebook where I do that before going to bed. We know how important the subconscious is in driving our overall state of mind. It just allows you to kind of like replay the day and think about all the good things that happened in that day. And let me tell you that is a life changer on how you approach life and how you perceive things in your life. Also, at some point, the more you do this and practice this, the more you'll start to notice that you do it naturally during the day. You'll start to feel that gratitude as things are happening to you or as you're seeing things and observing things, and that's honestly the best feeling ever. More in the context of the end of this year though, one thing that I would recommend doing and that I will also be doing is just, again, writing a list of all the things that you are grateful for this year. So this is going to be, bigger things, whereas, on a daily basis, you might be writing down the flowers I got smelled really good today, or I saw a cute dog this morning and it made my day. On a yearly basis, it might be more, I got a new job, I started a business, I met incredible people, I started a new relationship, I found who I am. Just things like that. Not to prompt you or anything. Who am I to tell you what to put on your list of things you're grateful for this year? Again, more than looking ahead and setting goals for 2025, look back at 2024. Look at what you're grateful for. And just kind of wish for more of that. It could be as simple as that. The next tip is, again, naturally kind of following the gratitude tip. And it is to love what you already have. Again, as I was saying in the intro, we have a tendency to always want more and more and more. I love doing that because to me, it's always kind of an awakening. Think about your teenager self or your child self. Whenever you started to, be aware of your own existence and think about what they would think of you now. Because when I do that and I look at my life now, I'm freaking out. My 15-year-old self would be freaking out about my life right now, in a good way. So that put things into perspective and kind of helps you. You just have to intentionally love what you have. And that's just something that you can practice for the rest of your life. And I know we're not all privileged and we don't all have the same things, but at whatever level you are, if you're on the internet right now, today, watching this video, you have a lot of things. And you can practice being grateful for them and you can practice loving them more. That also applies to material things. Instead of wanting to buy more clothes or buy new furniture or, not that you can't do that, but just practice loving the things you already have and maybe looking at them from a new perspective. Styling a sweater differently, looking up a similar sweater on Pinterest, looking up outfits to do with that thing that you already have, instead of getting an inspo photo of something and trying to get that thing from the inspo. Take your thing and find inspo for that. Anyway, love what you already have. My fourth tip is to stop comparing yourself to others. I know I'm not the first one to tell you this. I know you've heard this a million times. It might be getting old, but it might also not. Because it is we literally all know the phrase, comparison is the thief of joy. What are we looking for in this video? Joy. So comparison has to go. And a very simple thing, first of all, for starters, to stop comparing yourself. Again, classic thing. Social media has to go, or it has to be very, 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 very limited. You can set times on your phone. If you have an iPhone, I don't know if that works on Android. You can set a timer for apps. I think I have 10 minutes on TikTok, 15 minutes on Instagram every day. Also, just having specific moments for when you're on social media. This is kind of a funny one and kind of embarrassing, but I have made that rule for myself that I only am on TikTok when I'm on the toilet. And honestly, that's the only time that I think I should be on TikTok. And no shade to TikTok. Actually, that's a lot of shade to TikTok. But anyway, just an example. But have time and places where you use social media and make it very limited. Because it's already enough to naturally compare yourself to your friends, to your neighbors, to friends of friends, people you meet. But then we opened up this crazy portal where now we can compare ourselves to millions of people all at once. Think about how insane that is. Of course we're anxious. Of course we're unhappy and sad. And also, this social media only shows you the top 1%. It's so unnatural to compare yourself to people on social media. And you also just never know. The whole point of like, you can't compare yourself is no one has the exact same life story as you. No one has the exact same life settings. You have your own life settings, and with that, you can make amazing things happen for yourself. And that's also the beauty of you and your uniqueness, is that you will accomplish things and you will do things in your life and you will pursue things that you love based on your own life settings. I should coin that phrase. I feel like that's pretty good. Life settings. You know? I think that makes sense. Anyway, stop comparing yourself. I know it's hard. Set an intention. There's no shortcuts to do that. You're not going to stop overnight. Also, all of the tips that I gave you so far are helping you to not compare yourself. My last tip is to rest more intentionally. Sometimes we have a tendency to procrastinate. While we do that, we rest, but we don't really rest. There's basically a difference between procrastinating and resting, and the only difference is that with procrastination, you rest unproductively because you're constantly thinking about the thing that you have to do and you're just putting it off. If instead of that, you saw it differently and you were like, I will do this next thing at this time and place and date, whatever, and right now I am resting, and you enjoy the rest, it will be different. The reason why we keep procrastinating is because we haven't actually rested. We were just the whole time thinking about the things that we need to do. If you actually took the time to intentionally rest and not feel guilty, because there's an aspect and an element of guilt, not feel guilty about resting, then it's not procrastination anymore. You just rested and then you did the thing you needed to do because you were ready to do it because you rested. Of course, you can do it the other way around, which is, I feel like, what works for most people because it's just a little bit easier to rest once you've done the thing. But it is sometimes hard to not feel guilt when you rest. And I encourage you to practice that. I know I have a lot of work to do on that too. I know a lot of us have those tendencies, and again, that goes with living in a world where we're always pushed to do more and accomplish and achieve more. So it's hard, but you cannot do anything or get anything done or move forward in your life if you don't take the time to rest. So don't romanticize the grind. Don't romanticize overworking yourself to the point where you're burnt out, because you'll actually go a lot less far than people who intentionally rested and are ready to tackle the next thing after they rested. And like, same thing, you know, with the resting could be coloring, it could be doing some mindless art activity, it could be reading. Sometimes the more stimulating things, like, you know, obviously I love TV. I love watching a good show. That could be a really good way to rest. But sometimes, you know, reading a book might be a little bit more restful for your brain. Same thing with you guys already know how I feel about social media from this video, but it's not super restful compared to just making some tea, reading a book, journaling. But anyway, that is all the tips for today. To be fully transparent, I think I am feeling a little bit of guilt to making that decision to not really set goals for this year, because again, you know, there's a lot of societal pressure to do so. But I have been not necessarily unhappy, but I've just been really anxious in 2024. There was a lot of, you know, personal challenges I had to like deal with, not to get into any details because it doesn't matter for the sake of this video, but I just feel like constantly running after something, after the next thing, pursuing more, has not really led me anywhere in terms of happiness. So, you know, even with this YouTube channel, I really want to listen to my heart, listen to my instincts. I know everyone tells you to have a niche on YouTube, but if you have a YouTube channel, honestly, just post whatever you want to post, because I think people will follow you because you're authentic. and not because you stuck to one single niche and that you're making the same videos on the same topics constantly. I know a lot of the YouTubers that I watch because they're authentic and I like their personalities, and they just make me feel good about myself, and they make me feel good when I watch their videos. So I'm choosing joy and choosing to pursue that, and also in hopes that I will still accomplish things. It just can't be my North Star for this year because I need a break. So 2025, I'm just taking a break. It's gonna be fun. Let's do this together. Let's do this little experiment together, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate you for being here. I also do need to say a little something about hitting 1,000 subscribers, like literally a few days ago. I'm so grateful, so beyond grateful. Welcome to everyone who just subscribed. Practicing gratitude. I'm not gonna get emotional, but I'm excited for this year. I'm excited to focus more on happiness and loving the things that I have in my life. I have so much to be grateful for. I have a beautiful apartment in New York City. I am in the best and healthiest relationship that I have ever been in. I have the most amazing, cutest dog. I have a wonderful family that I got to spend the holidays with. I have a beautiful, beautiful home country here in France. I'm so freaking lucky, and I'm gonna bathe in that in 2025. And I encourage you to find all of these things for yourself too. And let's just do it together. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.